Hi, welcome back. In this week's writing workshop, I'm going to have you write what's called a process analysis. Now, don't worry, this term sounds more complicated than it really is. As you'll soon find out, a process analysis is simply a paragraph that explains a sequence of events. In one type of process analysis, you might explain to a reader how to do something. For example, this car tire changing guide could be called a process analysis because it explains a procedure or a sequence of events that your reader will follow. In another type of process analysis, you might explain to a reader how something works, which is a little different from how to do something because you're not giving instructions to your reader, you're simply explaining what happens during a process. For example, this chart that explains how water evaporates and is then converted back into rain could certainly be called a process analysis. For this assignment, I want you to write a paragraph for each type of process analysis I just mentioned. Let's call the How to Do Something paragraph Part 1 and the How Something Works paragraph Part 2. In Part 1, you'll be explaining a procedure for your readers to follow. It should be a sequence of events that takes them from a starting point to a completion point. Your How to Do Something paragraph should be written in what's called the second person voice, which I'll explain in more detail in this week's grammar workshop. In Part 2, you'll be explaining a process for your readers to better understand. It should also explain a sequence of events from beginning to end. Your How Something Works paragraph should be written in what's called the third person voice, which I'll also explain in this week's grammar workshop. Be sure to take a look at the samples I've provided here for both a How to Do Something paragraph and a How Something Works paragraph. The first step in writing your process paragraph is to decide on a topic and then write a topic sentence. Here are a few tips to help you get started. First, choose a topic that you are familiar with. Obviously, this will make the assignment easier to complete. Be sure to choose a topic that includes a sequence. If your topic doesn't show your reader how to do something or how something works, then it's not really a process analysis. Finally, avoid topics that are too large to cover in one paragraph. It's important that you choose something that can be explained in 8 to 10 sentences. Let's take a closer look at what I mean by choosing a topic that includes a sequence. In my sample paragraph for How to Do Something, I explain to readers the steps they should take when shopping for a new bicycle. The first topic sentence I wrote for my paragraph sounded like this: the best places to shop for a new bicycle. Now, this sentence is certainly related to the topic of shopping for bicycles, but it implies that my paragraph is mostly about reviewing local bike shops. That's not really the purpose of my paragraph, so I'm going to rewrite this topic sentence to show readers that I'll be explaining step by step how to do something. Shopping for a new bicycle begins at home. The important difference here is the word begins, which is just enough to let the reader know that I'm talking about a process or a sequence of events. Here's another example where a student wants to write about improving your baseball game. There's nothing wrong with this sentence in general, but it doesn't really indicate that the paragraph will explain a process or sequence of events. A better topic sentence might be 3 steps to a better swing. Notice that adding the words 3 steps immediately lets the reader know that this paragraph explains how to do something in a step-by-step process. In this example, the student wants to show readers how to use positive thinking to improve their lives. Again, the problem with this topic sentence is that it doesn't really indicate that the reader will learn some practical steps for using positive thinking. A better topic sentence might be, start your day with positive thinking. Notice how the words "start your day" immediately show the reader that your paragraph is about a process or a sequence of events. Another important consideration when writing your topic sentence is to make sure your topic is small enough to write about in one paragraph. For example, this topic sentence, "The 5 stages of building a house," might be fine for a full-length article or even a book, but the topic is much too large for a single paragraph. A better topic sentence for this assignment might be, "The safe way to measure, mark, and cut a board." Or how about this topic sentence, "The road to financial independence"? Do you think it's possible to cover this topic adequately in one paragraph? Probably not. A better choice might be, "How to save $30 in 3 days." Once you've decided on a good topic sentence, the next step is to make a numbered list of each step in your process. The worksheet I've provided here can help you do that. In my sample paragraph, you'll see that my topic sentence is, "Shopping for a new bicycle starts at home," and I made that sentence the first sentence in my paragraph. From here, I listed each step that readers should follow in researching and shopping for a bike, and I used transition words in my sentences to remind readers that I'm explaining a process. Before you visit your local bike shop, think about which road surface on which you'll spend most of your time riding. Notice the transition word "before," which does a nice job of letting the reader know that I'm talking about a sequence of events. Will you be riding on city streets, paved bike paths, or off-road trails? Then research how bikes are designed for specific road surfaces. Notice the transition word "then." You will discover that manufacturers offer a variety of bicycle styles. After you have a better understanding of the basic styles available, decide which type most closely matches your kind of riding. Notice the transition word "after." Next, decide how much money you can spend. Again, notice the transition word "next." Then go online and read reviews of the type of bike you are interested in buying, paying attention to the brands and models mentioned in the reviews. So that's the basic structure of a process analysis, and in particular, the type of process that explains to a reader how to do something. The grammar workshop for this week is all about writing in a particular point of view or voice. Point of view is the way in which an author speaks to a reader, and there are 3 basic types of point of view that an author might use: first person, second person, and third person. In first person writing, an author speaks as if he or she is having a face-to-face conversation with a reader. This type of writing includes words like "I" and "we," often placed at the beginning of a sentence. In second-person writing, an author also speaks directly to a reader, but without referring to himself or herself in the conversation. This type of writing includes words like "you" and "your," again, often placed at the beginning of a sentence. In third-person writing, an author speaks to no one directly, but refers to people, places, and things with words like he or she or it. So why is this important, and what does all this have to do with this week's module? Well, different kinds of writing call for different points of view. For example, authors who write memoirs about their lives are likely to have a book that includes a lot of the words "I" and "me." That's first-person voice, and it makes good sense to use this point of view when writing about yourself. Authors who write instructions for readers to follow are likely to use the words "you" and "your" in many of the sentences. That's second-person voice, and it makes good sense to use this point of view when telling a reader how to do something. On the other hand, authors who write primarily to share information usually don't refer to themselves or the reader. Instead, these authors focus primarily on the subject, using words like he, she, it, or simply the name of the person, place, or thing that they are writing about. That's third-person voice, and it makes good sense to use this point of view when explaining how something works. Now, a common mistake that beginning writers often make is to combine the different voices in one paragraph. This can result in a very confusing and awkward-sounding paragraph. For example, see if you can spot the inconsistencies in point of view as I read through this paragraph. I like to travel, but I often have trouble at airports. You never know if your departure might be delayed, which can make you late for a connecting flight. Airlines often delay or cancel flights due to poor weather conditions. Sometimes I think flight delays have nothing to do with the weather. Did you notice that some sentences begin with the word I, while others begin with the word you? And other sentences simply begin with the subject the author is talking about. This is a good example of a paragraph that contains three different points of view. The author starts the paragraph in first-person voice, using the word I, then switches to second-person voice, using the words you and your. The next sentence is in third-person voice because it refers to the subject of the paragraph only. This is followed by another sentence in first person, using the word I. The mixed voice here can be easily corrected by simply choosing one point of view to use throughout the entire paragraph. For example, using first-person voice, the paragraph might read like this: I like to travel, but I often have trouble at airports. I never know if my departure might be delayed, which can make me late for a connecting flight. I often see airlines delay or cancel flights due to poor weather conditions, but I wonder if some flight delays have nothing to do with weather. Or using second-person voice, the paragraph might read like this: If you like to travel, you know that trouble can sometimes be waiting for you at the airport. It's hard to know if your departure might be delayed, which can make you late for a connecting flight. You'll often see airlines delay or cancel flights due to poor weather conditions, but you might wonder if some flight delays have anything to do with weather. Or how about third-person voice? In this case, the paragraph might read like this: Trouble can often be waiting for travelers at the airport. Departure flights can unexpectedly be delayed, causing passengers to be late for connecting flights. Although airlines might blame the weather for delayed or canceled flights, travelers often question if some flight delays really have anything to do with the weather. Do you see the differences here in these three examples? Hopefully you've noticed that second-person and third-person voice are exactly the types of writing that I want you to use in the How to Do Something paragraph and the How Something Works paragraph. And to help you get some practice in identifying the different points of view, I have a worksheet I'd like you to complete. Well, that's it for this week. If you have any questions about the assignments, please be sure to contact me. Have a good week, and I'll see you again in the next module.